Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to go to my review of SummerSlam 2010. Starting off the evening, we go to our first match of the night. It is for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. It is Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler. I thought this was a good opening matchup for SummerSlam 2010. Back and forth matchup between Kofi and Dolph, with Dolph keeping the pace of the match. Dolph hits an elbow drop on Kofi. Kofi gets up, hits a Lou Thesz press on Dolph. Dolph then hits a Famouser on Kofi for a near fall. The Nexus end up showing up. They attack both Kofi Kingston and Dolph Ziggler, and this match ends in a disqualification. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is for the WWE Divas Championship. It is Melina versus Alicia Fox. I thought this was an okay matchup. Back and forth matchup between Melina and Alicia Fox, with Melina keeping the pace of the match. But Melina ultimately hits the finish on Fox, pins her for the 3, and your winner of the match, and at that time new WWE Divas Champion, is Melina. Hats off to Melina for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It's a handicap matchup. It is the Big Show versus the Straight Edge Society. I thought it was an okay matchup. Back and forth matchup between the Big Show and the Straight Edge Society. Show was keeping the pace of the match, with the Big Show ultimately hitting a chokeslam on Mercury, pins him for the 3, and your winner of the match is the Big Show. Hats off to the Big Show for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is for the WWE Championship. It is Randy Orton versus Sheamus. I thought this was a really good matchup. Back and forth matchup between Orton and Sheamus, with Orton keeping the pace of the match. Orton ultimately hits an RKO on Sheamus through the announce table, but Orton ultimately gets the win in this matchup by disqualification. And the reason why is because I believe Sheamus ended up pushing the referee out of the ring. Referee was kind of knocked out at the time. Orton ended up capitalizing an RKO through the announce table on Sheamus. Referee gets up, ends up disqualifying Sheamus, and your winner of the match by disqualification is Randy Orton. Hats off to Orton for getting the win in that matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It's for the World Heavyweight Championship. It is Rey Mysterio versus Kane. I thought this was a good match. Back and forth matchup between Mysterio and Kane, with Kane keeping the pace of the match. Mysterio hits a senton off the apron on Kane on the outside. Kane gets up, hits a sidewalk slam on Rey in the middle of the ring. Rey then hits a springboard leg drop on Kane in the middle of the ring. Kane gets up, hits multiple choke slams on Rey Mysterio. Kane then hits a signature tombstone on Rey. Kane opens the casket that was ringside. Undertaker is actually in the casket. Undertaker confronts Rey Mysterio in the ring. And then Undertaker faces off with Kane, ends up attacking Kane, and then Kane hits a tombstone on the Undertaker. And your winner of this match is Kane. Hats off to Kane for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is the main event of SummerSlam 2010. It is pretty much a traditional Survivor Series elimination matchup. It is Team WWE, which contains Edge, John Cena, R-Truth, Bret Hart, Daniel Bryan, Chris Jericho, and John Morrison, versus the Nexus, which was Wade Barrett, David Otunga, Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater, Darren Young, Skip Sheffield, and Michael Tarver. The match itself, it was a good matchup. Back and forth matchup between both teams, with Daniel Bryan and Darren Young starting the match for both the respective teams. Daniel Bryan applies a crossface on Darren Young. Darren Young is quickly eliminated from this matchup. Morrison hits a springboard enziguri. Morrison then hits his signature Starship Pain on Tarver, pins him for the 3. Tarver is now eliminated from this match. Sheffield then hits a lariat on Morrison, pins him for the 3. Morrison is now also eliminated from this match. Sheffield then lands another clothesline on R-Truth. R-Truth is now eliminated from this matchup as well. Sheffield then hits a press slam on Jericho. Hart then applies a sharpshooter on Slater. Chair then gets thrown into the ring. Hart then hits Sheffield with a chair shot. Bret Hart is now eliminated from this match due to disqualification. Jericho then hits a code breaker on Sheffield. And then Edge hits a spear on Sheffield as well. Pins him for the 3. Skip Sheffield is now eliminated from this matchup. Jericho then hits a lion salt on David Otunga. Jericho then applies a wall to Jericho on Otunga. Otunga taps out. Otunga is now eliminated from this match. Slater hits a finish on Jericho. pins for the 3. Jericho is now also eliminated from this match. Slater pushes Edge into Cena, which causes a disruption between Edge and John Cena. Slater then hits a roll-up on Edge. Pins for the 3. Edge is now eliminated from this match. Edge hits a spear on Cena on the outside. Jericho also attacks John Cena as well. Daniel Bryan applies a crossface on Heath Slater. Slater taps out. Slater is now also eliminated from this matchup. Miz is here. Miz makes his way down to the ring. Miz ends up hitting Daniel Bryan with a Money in the Bank briefcase. Wade Barrett then goes for the cover. Bryan is now eliminated from this matchup. Cena then hits a 5-knuckle shuffle on Justin Gabriel. Gabriel then gets up, goes for a 450 splash, but missed. Cena then goes for the cover, pins for the 3. Gabriel is now also eliminated from this match. And then Cena quickly applies an STFU on Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett taps out. And your winners of this match are Team WWE. Couple things I'm going to say about SummerSlam 2010, man, before I get out of here. Number one, this was a decent event from top to bottom. It really was, man. The opening matchup for the Intercontinental Championship between Kofi Kingston and Dolph Ziggler was a solid match, man. In the beginning, it was a really good matchup, but unfortunately, we had the Nexus interrupt the match, which caused the disqualification. The one match I kind of could have done without was the Divas Championship. I was not a big fan of the Divas Championship. I thought it was trash, to be honest with you. I'd much rather have the Women's Champion. And to be honest with you, the match was lackluster, man. I feel like Melina was carrying the match throughout the entire time. I feel like Alicia Fox really at that time really didn't know what to do in that match. The handicap match between the Big Show versus the Straight Edge Society, it was a solid match. I mean, it was decent. And Big Show obviously got the win in that match, so hats off to the Big Show. Randy Orton versus Sheamus for the WWE Championship was also a very good matchup. And Rey Mysterio versus Kane for the World Heavyweight Championship was also a really good matchup. Obviously, you have Rey Mysterio, Kane, kind of a David versus Goliath kind of thing. And, unfortunately, Kane ended up getting the win. Undertaker did get involved in this match. He ended up being in the casket, going after his brother Kane. So, I mean, it was great to see Undertaker as well. And then the main event being Team WWE versus the Nexus. So, all in all, it was a solid event. I'm not going to sit here and say it was the best SummerSlam, but in no shape, way, or form was it the worst SummerSlam I've ever seen. So, as far as SummerSlam 2010 is concerned, man, I'm going to have to give SummerSlam 2010 a solid rating of a 6, if not 6.5 at best, man. I thought this was a solid event from top to bottom, but for me personally, SummerSlam 2010, I'm going to give it a solid rating of a 6.5 at best, man. But this is my review of SummerSlam 2010. I hope you guys are out there staying safe, be careful, and remember, stay classic. Peace.